Hi friends, welcome to today's video. I hope all of you are doing very well. Today's video is on relief provided to COVID affected family. During pandemic, Government of India has taken all necessary steps to ensure that we are prepared well to face the challenges of COVID-19. In continuation of that effort, Government of India in Budget 2022 provided a big relief to the COVID affected family, and this move is a welcome move of the government. In this video, we shall discuss in detail about the relief provided to the COVID affected family. Finance Minister has made a press conference on 25th June 2021. In this press conference, it was announced that income tax shall not be charged on the amount received from employer or for any person for the medical treatment of COVID-19 during financial year 1920 and subsequent years. If you receive any receive any sum of money from your employer, from your relative, or from any other person for the medical treatment of yourself and your family members, then that amount is not chargeable under Income Tax Act. This announcement was made in a press conference which was held on 25th June 2021. Second, in case of death of the family member, the amount in order to provide relief to the family members, income tax exemption shall be provided to ex gratia payment received by family members to a person or any other person on the death of the person on account of COVID-19. Exemption without limit if amount received from the employer, or exemption shall be limited to rupees 10 lakh in aggregate for the amount received from any other person. So for here the two announcement has been made. If the crux summary of this press conference is that the two announcement was made: any sum received from any person including employer for the medical treatment, that amount is not taxable under Income Tax Act, and in case of death of the in case of the death death of the person, ex gratia payment received by the family member of employee is exempt whatever be the amount given by the employer. But in case amount received from the person other than employer, in that case the exemption limit is applicable only when the aggregate of the amounts shall not exceed rupees 10 lakh rupees. Exemptions shall be limited to rupees 10 lakh in aggregate for the amount received from any other person. To give effect of the press conference on which was held on 25th June, proposed following are the proposed amendment in the Finance Bill 2022. There are two amendments. One is amount received from the employer. So if anything is received from the employer, that includes a part of salary. If he received in monetary terms, then that part of salary. If received in non-monetary terms, then that is the part of perquisite. So there are two amendments. The two amendment is proposed to be made through Finance Bill 2022. First amendment is in the section of perquisites, section 17 subsection 2, and second section 56 subsection 2 clause 10 of the gift provision. So section 17 subsection 2 provides the definition of perquisite. However, certain exemptions have been provided which shall not include as a perquisites. If you receive any non-monetary benefit from your employer, then that non-monetary benefit is treated as a perquisites. However, there are some exceptions to this perquisite. So here some exception is added. In order to provide relief as stated in press statement, it is proposed to amend section 17(2). Any sum paid. This is the amendment which is proposed in the Finance Bill 2022. Madam Finance Minister has proposed this amendment in the Parliament. Any sum paid by the employer in respect of any expenditure actually incurred by the employee. Any sum paid by the employer in respect of any expenditure actually incurred by the employee on his medical treatment or treatment of the family members of his family in respect of any illness relating to COVID-19. Got my point? Any sum paid by the employer to the employee for medical treatment of self or any of your family member in respect of COVID-19 treatment, in respect of COVID-19 subject to such condition as may be notified by the central government shall not be forming part of perquisite. So, what is the amendment proposed to be made in section 17(2), section 17 subsection 2? Any sum paid by the employer to the employee for the medical treatment of self and his family member shall not be treated as perquisite, subject to some condition as may be notified by the central government. Since the word here written subject to be notified, subject to some condition notified by the central government, after approving this finance bill, when finance act will come into picture, then central government will issue a notification, CBDT will issue a notification regarding this matter, what are the conditions which need to be fulfilled to get the exemption benefit, to get the exemption benefit under perquisites. Next, section proposed amendment is in section 56 subsection 2 clause 10. Section 56 subsection 2 clause 10 is a gift provision. Section 56 subsection 2 and clause 10 of the income tax provides that if you receive any sum of money during the financial year without any consideration from all sources, from all persons, the aggregate value of which exceeds 50,000 rupees, the whole of the aggregate sum shall be the income of the person receiving such sum and chargeable under the head income from other sources. Suppose I receive payment from several persons, Mr. A, B, C, D, so many persons are there. This 50,000 is considered cumulative of all the amount received from all persons, and if the amount exceeds 50,000 rupees, then the whole amount is chargeable to Income Tax Act. However, there are certain exceptions provided in the law. There are some proviso of section 56 subsection 2 clause 10. Proviso means exception to the law. So there are some exceptions, like if you receive from the relative, then this provision is not applicable. If you receive from a trust, this provision is not applicable. If you receive from the government, then also this provision is not applicable. If you receive from under a gift or will, this provision is not applicable. There are some proviso given in the act. I am not dealing in detail of that proviso. So to give the effect of the announcement, some new provision need to be inserted to give the effect. So it is proposed to amend the provision of section 56 to subsection 10 and insert two new proviso. First is that any sum of money received by an individual from any person, any sum of money received by an individual from any person in respect of any expenditure actually incurred by him on his medical treatment or treatment of his family member in respect of any illness related to COVID-19, subject to such conditions as may be notified by the central government in this behalf, shall not be income of such person. Crux of the point is that if you receive any sum of money for the treatment of self and your family member for the COVID-19, so all these amount you received for the treatment, for the medical expenditure purpose for COVID-19 shall not be chargeable under the gift provision and shall not be treated as a gift, and not section 56 to subsection 10 is not applicable. Again, in case of death of the family member, in case of the death of the person, if you receive amount from the employer, then there is no limit. If you receive amount from an employer, there is no limit. Any amount you receive from an employer on the death of the employee, any amount received from the employer by the family member of the deceased employee, there is no limit, and all amount is, and whatever amount is received, that amount is exempt from the Income Tax Act. But if you receive amount from any other person on the death of a family member, that amount is not taxable if the aggregate of the amount does not exceed rupees 10 lakh. If the aggregate of the amount does not exceed rupees 10 lakh, up to 10 lakh, anything received on the death of the family member due to COVID, there is no tax liability. Now the question arises, what do you mean by family? What is the definition of family? The family definition is same as provided in section 10 subsection 5 of the Income Tax Act. Section 10 subsection 5 is on the LTC benefits. So here, as per the expansion 1 to section 10(5) of the Income Tax Act, family includes a spouse and children of the individual, a spouse and children of the individual, whether dependent or not. And in case of parents, brother and sister of the individual, wholly or mainly dependent on the individual. If the parents, brother and sister are wholly and mainly dependent on the individual, then also this provision is applicable. Second, this amendment is retrospective amendment. During the press conference, Madam Finance Minister has said that this is applicable for the financial year 1920. So the amendment is made for the assessment year 2021, for the assessment year 2020-21, the financial year is 2019-20. So this amendment is applicable from the assessment year 2021 and subsequent assessment year. I think. Thank you for your patience hearing. I have covered the topic in detail, but still if you have any problem, do write on the comment box. I will reply. I love to reply on the comment box. Your comments are very much important to us. And still if you have any problem, you can send mail me at my mail ID is given there, amjaclasses.ca.cs.cma@gmail.com. Thank you very much. Thank you.